I've been talking about the benefits of creating your podcast using Anchor for quite a while, but today there are so many more benefits that I can't imagine using a different hosting platform. And that's because Anchor, the world's largest podcast hosting platform, has now combined with Spotify for podcasters to create an all-new, first-of-its-kind platform with everything you need to create and grow a podcast. This means that you are now able to combine Anchor's all-in-one free hosting and distribution with all the best features Spotify has to offer, so you can make, manage, and level up your show. This includes the ability to upload or record your content, publish video podcasts to Spotify, add interactive features like Q&A and polls, choose from a number of monetization tools, and keep track of your show's growth with advanced analytics. And of course, you can still publish your episodes and distribute them to all platforms where your podcast is available. What makes all of this so amazing is that even if you already have a podcast hosted elsewhere, you can still take advantage of Spotify's free growth tools for podcasters, like analytics and fan engagement. You can do this by claiming your show on Spotify for Podcasters. Spotify for Podcasters is truly the easiest way to make any podcast, manage your show, and get the most out of Spotify. All you have to do is focus on your content, and they'll take care of the rest. For more information, go to podcasters.spotify.com. Hi, I'm Princess Lara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
And this is Pink Kink, the podcast where we talk about the pretty,
twisted side of kink.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Fabe, Embers, Blossom, William P., Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Payne, Northern Sir, Manda Panda, Cat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Serenity Deb, Christopher, Kilted Sir, Firegood and his good boy Grant, Brian, May Cry Devil, Ruby Riot, Mistress Velma, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, Linus X, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, Princess Katharina and Katharina's Thrall,
Harley Chick, Violet Rain, Serenity, Belle, Puppy Mike, Jedi Kitten, Eric, Cat Daddy, Sweetie Todd, Lady Affliction, Dr. Dave, Pumpkin Pie, Ms. Tourmaline, S'more, Hacksaw, Kinky Katie, Wee Mad Beastie, To Be Better For Me, Forrest, BP Bryn, Crash Override, Becca, Sir Sin, Little Bean, Kinky Bear, I'm a Baby Bitches, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Sinful and Naughty, Coffee and Chaos, Noir, Haley's Comet, and Viva La Brat.
Pink Kink runs off the generosity of our devoted patrons.
As a patron, you will become a member of our special Discord server, receive some adorable Pink Kink stickers, as well as have access to a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast. Patrons also get discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
In addition, our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get special audio and video episodes. And finally, patrons at our highest tier will be recognized as producers, both here on the podcast and on our website.
If you would like to become a patron, you can visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click the link at pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Well, I gave Dara an extra day to try to recover and recuperate and get her voice back. But apparently it was not enough time. And she's glaring at me.
I just want to sleep. Why you make me do this? I think it got worse.
Because if we sleep at this point, it will mess up our going to sleep tonight.
No, it won't.
All right, it would for me.
That's what melatonin is for.
I take melatonin just to get any sleep. I am of an age that for me, it's not how many hours of sleep I get, but did I actually get to sleep through the night without waking up?
Oh, I haven't had not interrupted sleep in years.
Yeah. Okay, but you have puppies.
Very needy puppies.
Yeah. I survived my kids, and then they got to be teenagers, which meant they didn't bother me at all because they were sleeping more than I was.
Okay, well, that's fun, but I've got basically permanent toddlers.
Pretty much. All right. So for episode 2 of Smut Lovers Conference, we've got some more great interviews with some fantastic authors. And I hope you will enjoy these interviews as much as I did talking with everybody. Well, I'm very excited because we have the lovely and amazing Pepper North with us today. Welcome, Pepper.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here as well.
I'm actually in the middle of reading one of your books right now, so this is really perfect.
Uh-oh.
So I start off asking everybody, what made you decide to come to Smut Lovers Conference?
I started writing in 2017 and quickly discovered that one really good way to connect with readers was to go to conferences. So I've been to quite a lot of them. I usually go to at least 8 a year. And at one point, I ended up in San Antonio for another conference that was set up with demonstrations and all sorts of different types of interactive experiences for authors and for readers with all of the different kink kind of areas that were there: impact play, shibari, wax play, all of those different things. So it was so much fun. I enjoyed it as much as all the readers enjoyed it. So when the opportunity came to experience something like that at Smut Lovers, I jumped with both feet in.
Yeah, it was a great weekend for sure.
Definitely was.
What inspired you? I know there was a lot of different educational classes. What did you find inspiring?
I really liked hearing from panels and their views on different things. There were a lot of things I hadn't had exposure to. Your talk, for one, was one that I haven't ever really gotten a view of. And definitely, everything always looks different, strange, whatever from afar. But once you get into things, then you start going, yeah, maybe that is just kind of enticing. So it's fun to listen and to experience new things.
So we'll see some needle play and blood play in a future book.
I have no idea. It could definitely happen for some in some of my series. So the Dr. Richard series would be definitely one that I could see. They already get shots, so maybe there's something else that could be in there too.
I tease everybody about that. I don't expect a lot of people to to necessarily write those type of scenes, but I live in hope.
Yes, you never know. I mean, and I think the kink content of books has changed a lot in at least the last 3 years, 5 years than what it used to be. So you just never know what's going to show up in a book.
Now, I know there was a lot of us that were fangirling. I know I was fangirling over getting to finally meet you. Who were some of the people you were fangirling over?
Oh, there were some really amazing people that were there. So it was fun I always love spending time with my besties, Becca Jameson, who's just kind of a unicorn author. She writes everything under the sun, as well as Kate Oliver, who's brand new onto the scene and has just skyrocketed up into the top 100 of Amazon with almost no advertising whatsoever. Her books are just so compelling. People just are drawn to them. And of course, all the other daddy authors, we don't get together very often. So it was fun to see everybody there. But there were a lot of new authors there as well. And I always like seeing new people coming into the profession. Several of them were so nervous when the conference started before everybody came in. And then they were so excited at the end when they'd sold a whole stack of their books or even more than that. So really, I just like the opportunity to hang with readers and with authors. It's fun.
You guys had your little daddy corner in the reading. which was so
We
cute.
did. I don't know how the daddy corner ended up. Some brilliant person that had done the seat arrangements, which is great. We always love being in the corner. It's just a fun place. And the readers loved it too, because we all were welcoming them to the daddy corner as they were there. So it was fun.
Well, you certainly appeal to my middle. And I came home. I laugh. I came home in addition to books. Came home with 2 teddy bears. So because I've got my Shadow Guardian teddy bear, and
Guardians,
I got my Rawhide Ranch teddy bear, and so
yes,
it's perfect.
I love them. Yes,
and I even still have my tattoo because I've been so careful with my little tattoo to make sure.
That was so much fun doing the meet and greet at the very beginning of the event. And our guys, Mr. North, Mr. Jameson, and Mr. Oliver all support us so well. And they just sat in their little table and put tattoos on everybody. It was so much fun. And with those temporary tattoos, there's no jeopardy of any way, shape, or form. They're just the little temporary things you can live on the wild side if you've never chosen to get a tattoo.
Well, it's definitely inspiring me. Maybe I need a teddy bear tattoo.
I kind of have to limit myself. I love the feel of tattooing. And unfortunately, I'm allergic to the red ink.
Oh, no.
I discovered after I have one tattoo with red ink. So I'm actually having the middle of one of my tattoos taken out, so the red is gone. So you just have to be careful with all of those. I know my mother told me, don't get a tattoo, and I didn't listen to her. But if it was me, I'd be on that table getting more tattoos all the time, just because the feel is one of those things that you either love it and it sucks you in, or it's just not for you.
Tattoos is one of many things that I swore I would never do. And I did. So it just, and then I got it. I swore I'd never get a second, and I did. So now I've just learned not to say never, because now I really want that teddy bear tattoo.
It doesn't make any sense to do it because the urge is going to get you.
So what was your favorite part of the whole weekend? Do you have a favorite part?
The signing is always my favorite part, just because I love readers and I love hanging out with them. I had several people that I had been hoping to meet at some book conference somewhere that were able to come this time, that I had conversed with through social media for several years. So it was great to get to connect with them. That was fun. And, it's just the energy in that room when everybody's going around with everybody that just loves books. They are not people that are just readers. They're readers in capital letters that devour books and love them as their escape, just like I do. So it's always fun to be in that atmosphere.
There definitely was a lot of I found my people energy going on in the room. It's like, finally, we don't have to hide what we read. We can talk about it with each other. And I think we all came home with our to-be read list just quadrupling.
I went to my first book conference in 2018. It was a very interesting process for me to try to explain, what I wrote, because there weren't that many daddy books out there at that time. And I was everybody's dirty little secret. They would go, oh, yeah, that seems interesting. And then they'd go back to their room and my downloads would skyrocket after an event because people would try one book and then read the next one and the next one and the next one. Daddy books are one of those addictive kind of things. They're either for you and you're going to read all 100 and however many books I have, or it's just not going to ring true for you, just like pretty much any other kink that's there.
And your Dr. Richards series, too, it's for, at least that I've seen, it's pretty unique. Haven't found a lot with that level of medical play.
No, there aren't. And that series, I just love it. And when Amazon banned Zoe off of Amazon a couple of years ago, it just was crushing because Zoe is this character that repeats in every single book. And she's just one of those unforgettable people that you would love to have as your bestie. And you just love her. She's just fun. So the outcry was amazing. All of the people that contacted Amazon, and Amazon did actually message me and say, well, just make a few changes and reload it back up on Amazon. To which I went, screw you. I don't think I want to do that. So it's just free on my website. But it is, the series is kind of one of the kind, and it made my career. There are 34 books in that series. I took a break last year from writing them. I wrote one for a short anthology for the Dirty Daddies anthology this year. And it's my spirit animal. I love that series. I was so happy writing that book. I was like, okay, I can't walk away from this. I've got to keep writing them. So definitely there will be more Dr. Richards coming, just because I love to write them and everyone loves to read them. So why not?
That's how I discovered you, is through that. Then I've read The Sanctuary Ranch and all that. And I'm catching up on the Cupcake series. That one I got behind, and you just kept writing and writing. So it's like, I've got a lot to catch up on.
They just explode. They're so much fun. Yeah. And every series has its own kind of little flavor to it. That one's just light and fun and fluffy, and everybody loves it. And Paige Michaels is amazing to write with. I've had so much fun writing with her. So that's been a great thing. But yes, with two of us that are both fast writers, those books come out fast.
I'm a fast reader, so I'm not complaining. I now know that I have a nice long list to catch up on, and it's great. So
it's nice to have a TV read list.
I know. Oh, I've got so many now from this conference because of all the various, a lot of authors I'd never heard of before. And I love that. So I've got this list. Are you coming back next year?
I am. Yes, I'm already signed up. Kate and Becca and I are going to sponsor the meet and greet again. We had so much fun the first time. We can't wait to do it again. And who knows what we'll come up with this time. I have a feeling tattoos will still be there, but we'll do our best to add a special flair this time. That's coming up. I absolutely love Nikki Rome. She is an amazing person. And as an event coordinator, I am just in awe of what she was able to put together for this first book con. The Smut Lovers ran smoother than just about any conference I've ever been to, which is a testament to all of her thinking and planning and work and hours and all of those things. So yes,
it was very impressive.
I'll be back.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Like to give everybody a chance to promote their stuff. Where can people find your books?
I am everywhere. Most of my books are on Amazon and the KU program, but a lot of them are spread wide across all the booksellers, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, all of those things. If you want Zoe, my band book, it's free on my website. So you can go to 4 peppernorth.club and join the Age Play Club that's there, and you will definitely be able to download on the very front page the Forbidden book off of Amazon. And I hope you love it. It's one of those that's near and dear to my heart.
I've read it. I recommend it, people. So definitely grab it. Thank you so much, Pepper. I cannot wait to continue reading all your lovely stuff.
Well, thank you for enjoying my books. It's nice to know they go to good homes with people that appreciate them.
I am here with Christian Pan, who is one of our authors. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
What made you decide to come to Smut Lovers?
Actually, this is my first in-person book signing, and I've gone to other kinds of conferences for other kinds of activities and subjects, but I thought, as a new writer, I want to meet new people, see what other people are doing, what kind of stuff they're writing. It's more of like a glamorous holiday.
There we go. And what kind of genre do you write with it?
I write erotica. I'm bisexual. I feel like a lot of stories that depict bisexual people, especially men, are not accurate to my experience or to my interests. And so after complaining about that for much too long, I thought, what the heck? Why don't I try my hand at that? I think a global pandemic and locking down and eliminating my normal employment also helped to give me the time to try and write. And I thought I would do it for 6 months, but it's been 2.5 years. So what turned into a lark is now some kind of calling, I suppose.
There we go. And what are you hoping to accomplish here at Smut Lovers?
I definitely want to see if I can learn from those writers that are more experienced and knowledgeable than I am, what they do, so I can learn from their experience and maybe not just be wandering in the wilderness of being an indie self-published writer, be a little bit more successful. If I can meet some new readers who might be interested in my work, that'd be terrific. Yeah, I mean, I've been to some online book-related stuff before, but nothing in person. So I feel like already the energy is so much more fun than what I was, than I can compare to with online stuff. So I really like that. And yeah, I just want to see what people are doing, like what kind of stuff they're up to.
And did you attend some of the panels?
I did, yes. I was at the, I had to work, so I couldn't get here before last night. So I went to the ones this morning about researching BDSM and also marketing romance or erotic literature that incorporates BDSM and kink.
Oh, good. And you found that helpful?
I do. I mean, I guess I feel, to be totally frank, I feel a little bit of an oddball in the sense that I think there's a lot of emphasis on the marketing and covers and fonts and social media, and I miss more discussion about the writing itself. Like, what are you writing about? Why are you writing about that now? I want more of those kinds of conversations because I find them interesting. I was surprised there was no mention about censorship or about the challenges that particularly queer writers who do erotica are facing in terms of like advertising and promoting their work, because statistically our work gets taken down exponentially more often. So I felt like that was like a bit of a curiosity, but maybe those kinds of conversations will happen later.
Those are actually great ideas for 2024.
True.
Right? So this is the first year that they've been doing this, and it's a learning process.
Yeah.
And even if you do it for like 5-10 years, you're still always learning because times change and needs change. So we'll definitely make a note of that for Nikki for next year. Now, I know all of us here, this is one of my favorite things. We all seem to fangirl over each other. What authors are you like excited and fangirling over that are here?
Oh, man. I mean, to be honest, part of my desire to come is that I don't know most of the writers here. Like a lot of the writers that I know, none of them are attending this conference. I don't know why. And it doesn't really matter because I feel like it's a boon for me because it means I'm going to inevitably meet some new writers. So I have like an extra spot in my suitcase just to like load up on books and try to find out like what's everyone doing. So that's part of the joy for me as a reader, because I think there's so many writers I just don't know much about.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to meet lots of different folks.
Absolutely.
Now, we don't have a lot of men writing in this genre.
I've noticed.
Why do you think that is?
It seems as though most readers are women. Most predominantly readers of romance are women. And I think also from my anecdotal research, most women want to read romantic erotic stories by other women. So I think those are the three factors that come to mind. My readership is much smaller, but I feel like they're nerdy, erotic people. And there does seem to be an overlap between men and women, but they are predominantly women readers. But I don't know. How to get more people just to read, I think, is a great question.
And do you think you are able to offer like an entirely different perspective coming in as a male writer? As you were saying, you find a lot of the bisexual scenes in the other books aren't as realistic as what you experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like more often if you have two women in some kind of bi-curious scene, it's not even considered bisexual, it's just considered feminine. And then the real spice starts when the man enters the room and now there's a trio. But if a man were to do that, then they're really in the closet, they're homosexual. But in both cases, it seems to presume that bisexuality just doesn't exist. Even though at the same time, it's the largest growing identity within the LGBTQ community. So it's this weird disconnect. I think having stories where men and women are depicted as being bisexual without any shame, but also without utopian confidence. I feel like that's one thing a lot of my peers write these like everyone is fine and there's no worries at all and everything is just great. And I feel like awesome. But I think what I'm writing has a little more grit, has a little more like many of my characters are divorced, they have kids, they go to therapy, they like movies, they argue, they have moods. For me, like that's what makes them appealing is that they are real. I'm not as interested in just having a blank canvas to put the reader into it. I feel like I want them to get to know these people so it fires their imagination. And also that people are complicated. I mean, that not everyone is clear about what is their sexual identity. It may not align with their sexual practice. Right. And I think that's also, I feel like, especially in 2023, there's so many rich things to write about related to the body, sex, identity. And I just want as much of that into erotic writing as possible.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Of course. Thank you.
Loved having you here.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll come back in 2024 and
Absolutely.
do this again.
Thank you.
Well, we are here with Lara, one of the wonderful authors from Smut Lovers. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
What made you decide to attend Smut Lovers?
So actually, I was following Nikki on TikTok for a while, and she posted a video and said, hey, if there was a conference that was all about schminks, would you come?
Oh, you can say in our podcast.
Well, that's how she said it.
Oh, is that how she said it?
Yeah. I said I would go. And so it was an immediate yes for me from that moment, just because I want to make sure that whenever I'm writing, it's obviously I write paranormal, so it's not real, but it's as authentic as it can be. So knowing that I could come to a place and learn some things was very good. But then also I have a secret side of me that is not the author.
Ooh.
That's also a little bit, maybe a little kinky. So there was that part too.
That's cool. So, all right. So you were expecting to come in and get educated. That's
yes.
Fabulous. All right. And do you feel more educated now that the conference is over?
I do. I still have so many questions. It was just like the tip of the iceberg where it was like, here is this that you can learn. And then, but know that there's this whole other thing that is still left.
So what do you think is the one area that really grabbed your attention that you'd love to learn more about now?
Ropes. Oh, I had my emotional support human with me, and she very generously allowed me to tie her up. And that was a lot of fun. But I think that I would like to just know more about it, maybe get tied up myself. Because, when you write from both perspectives of giving and receiving. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And what inspirations are you walking away with from this conference? Obviously, as just a person, you're interested in the rope, but as an author, like what kind of stuff?
I think the impact, the demonstration, and I did go prior to the conference to one of the Woodshed's virtual education series where they talked about impact as well. And I think that that's something that I want to expand in my writing. I certainly use spanking, but not to the full extent that I could. And then implementing some other things like the whip and the flogger, and she was very creative with those clothespins.
So many good, exciting, wonderful things in the impact world.
Yes. And then personally, in my real life, sharps is not for me. I'm sorry.
I'm used to that. I'm very well used to that.
But I thought the panel was super interesting, and I did see some of your photos, and you really do make some very cool, like, patterns and everything. And I think that could be fun to explore as an author, even though it would not be something that I would be.
Yeah, I'm well accepting of the fact that we have a saying, your kink is not my kink, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
And it gets used a lot with me. Because my kink is not a lot of people's kink. What are some of your memories from the weekend? Some of like
Oh,
if somebody said, "Should I be going?" What are all the wonderful things that they would have?
well, first of all, you should be going because it was awesome. Everybody, there was just like an environment of respect and a welcoming, trying to think of the word of like just acceptance and no judgment. And I really appreciate being in places like that because, especially as an author, sometimes you get people who aren't, about that, and they're like, that's kind of weird that you would say that or think that or feel that way. And if you come to Smut Lovers, there's just not going to be anybody who's going to be like, that's kind of weird that you think that way. I really enjoyed the after party, the demonstrations that were there. I think that was a lot of fun. And yeah, just the sense of community, getting to meet people, getting to network with people that you maybe are afraid to approach online. It was a good time. So
Yeah, there was a whole lot of girling going on from all of us. Who were you?
yeah.
Who are you most fangirling over? Come on, fess up.
So I try really hard not to fangirl. Like it happens, but I'm like, hey, I'm fangirling from over here. I had the pleasure of meeting Grace McGinty the weekend before, and I knew she was going to be there this time around. And so I was like, okay, let's not stalk her the entire time. You just have to like gently be like, hey, and then walk away for a bit, and then you can say hey again. Also, RL Calder, I I could tell that she's not one who really enjoys like a lot of praise, like so I was trying to like not be like, oh my gosh, you're such a great author, da, da, da. And like I was just like, hey, nice to meet you. Definitely them. And then I had the pleasure of sitting next to Deb Alexander at like my table at the signing, and she was really cool. I would be excited to see her again. And then there were some people that I did not speak to that I like left and was like, I should have said hi to them.
I said hi to everybody I wanted to. I didn't get pictures with everybody that I wanted to get pictures with. That's probably, if I had to say, like, do I have any regrets? That's like my only regret is I should have taken more pictures.
I'm the same way. It's like if I'm somewhere where my attention is, my phone is in my pocket. Like as long as I know my kids are okay and they work because they're with their fathers who are very capable, then my phone is away and I'm not even thinking about taking pictures because and then I get home and I'm like, dang, yeah, I should have taken pictures.
Right? I know. One of the things, so you mentioned about the fact of everybody being very accepting. I think that was the coolest thing because as somebody who's been reading basically smut since I was a young kid, I never told anybody the kind of books I read, right? And it's only been with like the last really 2 or 3 years that I'm finally like proudly going, I read smut and I love it and I'm very content and happy reading it. I do you find the same issue as an author that you kind of have to keep that quiet?
So Lara is my pen name, and at my job, they knew I was going to this writing conference. I've been telling them about it for a whole year, and they're like, "Oh, it's coming up. Are you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, what book did you write that you're going to bring with you?" And I'm like, "Oh." Like it's about vampires. You wouldn't like it. So I'm a paralegal, and one of my attorneys thinks that I write rom-com, which I mean I could, but I also don't think I'm that funny, so I don't. But I don't tell her at all. But I do have one attorney who is the sweetest and buys everything I write and brings it into the office for me to sign, and she's great. But I, I don't know. My friend's like, "Are you gonna go to Barnes and Noble?" And I was like, "No," because if I'm at Smut Lovers, where I know everybody there is expecting a certain type of book from me, and I can have my NSFW art on my table just right up in your face, I'm good because that expectation is set. I'm not going to go to Barnes and Noble and have some lady ask me, well, what is your book about? And then I just silently die.
There's a lot of NSFW stuff around the whole place. There were peens. There was,
yes.
I mean, it was great.
Yeah, it was definitely the first time I was like, hey, do you want to rub my penis? And people were like, yeah.
Like, my people, I found my people. All right. So Are you coming back in 2024?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Right? How are we supposed to wait a year, for crying out loud? Like a year now.
I know. I'm already planning, and it's Moulin Rouge, so I'm trying to find the perfect corset, of course. But I just have to count the days.
I guess we'll have to do that. All right, it's time to plug yourself. Plug your author name, plug your books, so people can look you up.
All right. So I write under Lara G. Elmore and Lara Grace. Lara Grace is my contemporary name, and currently all of that work is on Kindle Vella, which is a serialized reading platform, part of Amazon. But if serialized reading is not for you, all of my work under Lara G. Elmore is paranormal. And let's see, 3 out of the 5 books available are very spicy. My most popular one is Bloodwork, which is a standalone story about a human who goes to an auction to sell her blood. She is hired by a clan of 4 vampires. They take her home and they take a little bit more than just her blood. It is a why choose story, but it's also kind of poly because everybody loves everybody. And I put emphasis on the relationships equally.
Sounds fascinating. I'll have to add you to my list. It's like my to be read list is out of control. Not that it wasn't beforehand, but after last weekend, I can't download enough books to.
I know
get all
that
this
was
done.
That was the one part. It was fortunate to fly there because it means I could not buy a bunch of physical copies and bring home with me because I had to fly home. So that was helpful.
Yeah, see, I buy the physical copies that I never actually read.
Mm.
They're just autographed. They sit on a special shelf, place of honor. No one's allowed to touch them because you could mess them up. And then I download it all on my Kindle.
Man.
And it's all good. Well, thanks for coming and talking. And I will definitely see you next year.
I'm so excited. All right. Have a good night.
Well, we are very lucky to have Mo Flames here with us on the podcast after a fantastic weekend. Did you have a blast?
I had a blast, Lara. It was a lot of fun. Still recovering, like you said. I think I'm just feeling back to myself today.
Yeah, it was a lot of people, which I enjoy, but I know for those who are not as extroverted as I am, that can be tough.
Yeah. I just told you I'm an extroverted introvert. So it's like after peopling, I think I need a recharge. My battery needs to recharge. The Energizer Buddy has to sit on top of the charger and recharge. So
I love it. So what made you decide to come to Smut Lovers?
Well, because as an author, I write smut, but I'm not writing the smut with BDSM. And I had the opportunity of meeting Nikki Rome last year in Vegas at another signing event. And when I was told by my table buddy, J.S. Mercer, what it was about, I was like, are you kidding me? Because that's what I'm going to be writing about soon. And she said, well, you need to get with Nikki. So when I say I was white on rice, I jumped on her. Like, I was like, hey, Nikki, what is this conference you're going to have next year? And she handed me her card. Do you know I had that card in my pocket, made sure I put it away. I got home. It was the first thing I did. I reached out to her and she sent me the information. I jumped right on it. And I reached out to her. As soon as she sent me the flyer to pay it, I paid it. And just like when she sent the interest form for 2024, I jumped on it. For 2025, I jumped on it. But I knew this was going to be the conference to help with my writing. And already I came back with so much information. My readers better get ready.
I am excited about that. So what in particular inspired you? Was there any particular roundtable or panel or whatever that just you were like, this is what I needed?
Yes, I will say mainly finding out about the aftercare. That was a funny one. I mean, just the fact of coming out of BDSM 101, knife play, that's something, okay, that I wasn't sure about I was going to ever get involved in. But I said, hey, why not? And of course, rope play. That's something different. You know, I had never done that before. So I have some more homework to do, but those were things that I've been green in all of this. All of it really was green for me. And I've just been doing all the research and having one-on-one conversations with those that are in the life already in the community. Imagine having someone that you're on the computer and you're doing research, but imagine being in the room and being able to ask a question of someone face to face and they're explaining it to you and you can bounce it back and forth to them and they're saying, hey, here's my number. You call me, we talk. And here's some more information. And it's like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So it's like, I was so grateful and so thankful for the opportunity to be in the space with everyone. And that's the other part, that it was a space that I felt comfortable in. I didn't
Right?
feel
Like, did you feel like you walked away now with the whole extended family?
Oh, did I? Those my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, my aunties and uncles. Oh my God, I love them all. I can't wait. Like, do you understand? I'm counting down. How do you leave someplace and already count down? Like, it's not
I
happening
think
fast
it's
enough.
like, as of yesterday, it was like 352, but I'm not counting her
You're
anything.
not counting. You're like me, but I'm not counting. But
And
I'm
I may have
counting.
signed up for 2024 and 2025.
That's
So
what I'm
I
saying.
understand.
I got the interest form. I think I put a GIF on in the group, and I'm like, it was the guy that's running so fast. I ran like as soon as she said, "Okay, guys," I put the 2025 up. I jumped right on it. I'm like, I don't even know how many books I'm gonna have out. It doesn't matter. I'm coming. I'm just gonna be there. I can't not imagine being around everyone. It felt so good. It was just everything. I mean, the moment I walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are my people.
Yep.
These are my people.
That's been the common thread from everybody I'm talking to. Like, that's how we all felt. These are my people.
Yeah.
Right. No judgment. I mean,
None.
like, I laughed. So even within my own community, I'm a little out there. The things that I like to do are a little strange. And it was really funny because I was so worried to come and teach all these people, many of whom are vanilla or just dipping their toes, was like, I'm going to freak everybody out. And I was so surprised, like how many people stayed and listened and, who came up to me. Like, I had a couple who say, okay, so I've unlocked a kink that I didn't know I had, or not something I think I would do, but it was fascinating. I mean, it was like no judgment. Everybody was so fantastic.
Yeah, that was the part I think I love the most, that it was just no judgment. And that what you just said, like, I may not try it, but I want to learn about it. And maybe, maybe. Look, there's a star right there. Maybe, just maybe. So yeah, it was just great to be in the room and just experience that and just know at the end of the day, no one was going to look at you sideways like, oh my God, you like that stuff? Because come back home and you can't have these type of conversations. You know that, right?
Yeah,
because like
I do know.
Like that. So it's still the same thing. It's like, I'm not sharing much. It's like I can come in the group though and say what I want to say, have these conversations, and know that this is my family, that we can talk about this. And I know that you guys won't judge me. You'll help me out. You'll guide me. Here's the other part. Educate me. How about that? Use that word. You'll educate me on what I need to know about it. And not just, okay, Mo, great. No, that's nice. No, you'll educate me on it, and I'll walk away with a better understanding, better knowledge, and I'll be able to walk away and say, okay, once again, star, maybe, just maybe.
I will give you a little secret. The one thing that kinksters love to talk about is kink. Like, get any one of us talking about kink, and the problem's going to be to get us to shut up.
Yeah, no, I felt like I said, it's like conversations did not end. It was like walking by and I'm just like ear hustling, like, oh, like, let me get in that conversation. Oh, what you guys are talking about? It's like, I that's the part I love too. It's like, I just got in. And do you know, I spent a lot of money with the pure romance lady too. I spent a lot of money with her. I really did, because I was like, I'm going to buy some stuff because I do.
You need to try, right? Maybe,
I need to try.
Maybe what we call now vanilla with sprinkles. So not maybe kinky, but you're a step up from just vanilla. Little sprinkles.
Exactly. I got some sprinkles over here. I got little sprinkles over here. So yeah, I was excited about that.
Before we know it, with you coming back in 2024 and 2025, we're going to get you to Kingster stage before you know it.
Yes, I have a feeling. Like, Mo, are you still feeling like you're an introvert? You're extrovert, introvert? I said, I may have stepped up to just a little extra.
Yeah, my goal is, and I've talked to Nikki about it, and so we'll finalize all the details. My goal is I'm going to be bringing more toys next year, and I'm going to set up a demo station so people can try. It's one of the things I do in my kink community. I take people, we like to call them, you know how like when you walk around Costco and there's those people with the little samples and you get a tasting? I do that with different kinks. So I'll bring my toys and you can, oh, you want to be hit by a flogger and feel what it tastes, see what it tastes like? I'm going to do that. You want to see what it tastes like to be hit with a cane? All these different things so that when you write them, you have a better understanding of what those things feel like.
Yes.
So
that would be dope. That would be really dope.
And I think people will walk away with that going, I need more sprinkles.
Right. Sprinkle me, baby. that needs to be on there. Sprinkle me, baby.
Oh, I'm going to steal that. That's definitely got to do something with that.
Yeah. Sprinkle me, baby. Yeah.
I'm going to create a sticker or something and bring that to next year's event.
I like that. I can see that with all the pink. Sprinkle me, baby.
There you go. All right. So who are some of the authors that you might have been fangirling over and were excited to meet?
Okay. Definitely she was right down for me. And I did not get to go over to her table. I tried to, but everyone was at my table. Oh my God. It was, and I just had her book right here. And I said, she's going to kill me. Cause I said, I had her cover sitting right here today and I knew we were going to come on. And I said, if you ask me about it, I'll have it here. Cause and I was like, I can't believe I did not get to her table. Cause believe me, the guy he's such a hunk. He's one, she did all the her husband. I kept walking into the daddies at the daddy table.
That daddy corner was special, wasn't it?
That daddy corner. Kate, is it Kate?
Kate Oliver. Yes.
Kate Oliver. And then there was also, let's see, Kate. So I was fangirling over her. So that was number one, Kate Oliver. And I also, there was, who else was there that I didn't get a chance to? Of course, there was Amity. Amity, I so bad wanted to take a picture with her. I met her, but I didn't get a chance to take a picture with her. But she said, no problem. We didn't get a chance to. But next year I said, for sure. If I see you, first thing I'm going to do is take a picture with you. Because that was one of the first things I wanted to do. Who else didn't I get a chance? Because she was too down for me. I took pictures of her table. Did not get a chance to get her books because Macy was right next to me and she was too down for Macy. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
But she was too down for Macy, but she was right down from there. And I took them because she's on my phone. I took them because everyone's on my phone. I'm like, she was right there and I didn't get my books. And she's like, she's already broken down. That's okay. And I'm like, but I didn't get my books. I didn't get a chance to get my books. So I was like, at least those are the ones. But I got to see them. And that was the fun part. I got to actually see them. And you know how you sit there and you're like, they were in the same room.
Yep.
And you didn't get a chance to like take a picture with them. Are you kidding me?
I was so bad about taking pictures because I felt like almost awkward, right? But I totally understand it. Like Pepper North is telling me she listens to my podcast. And I think I walked around all weekend going, oh my God, Pepper North listens to my podcast. Oh my God, Pepper North listens to my podcast.
She was like another one. Mm-hmm.
It's like crazy.
But to get information from her too, to have her on a panel and listen to her, give you information, because we had author panels. So to listen and have things told to you that you can ask the questions and you're like, oh my God, this was so cool that you get to ask what you would call the ones who've been doing this for a while, the veterans, and ask them, well, how do you do this? And what would you do in this situation? They give you their advice. That was also cool. And I love that. And when Nikki asked, what could we bring back? That was one of the things I put on there. And I'm like, instead of
generosity, right? It was the generosity. Yes. Nobody viewed anybody else as a competitor.
Right.
It wasn't like, I'm not going to help you because you might sell more than I do. Like everybody was like, we are in this together. If you need help, I will help you. If I ever need help, I know you'll help me. And it was so beautiful.
Yes. That's why I said the whole thing. And I kept hearing that too. Friendly. I kept hearing friendly. Friendly. I didn't feel like no drama. And sometimes, and I haven't thankfully been to any event that had that, but I would overhear sometimes that there were things going on behind the scenes. I'm like, okay, I'm glad it didn't involve me. Didn't bother me. It wasn't my thing to deal with, but to know that this was a space that, again, safe. It was fun. Oh my God, it was so much fun. So much fun. This Elmore is so much fun. And no drama. Drama. And that's why I said, I think that's why we're so hyped. Like this energy, holding this on for 300 plus days
This is gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard. Like hurry up next year. Not trying to rush a year away, but it's almost like, come on, hurry up though.
Right. Well, listen, I've got plans because I've already warned my boss that I'm going to take extra time off because I've got plans to go to Disney with Amity and her wife because I'm she's my new sister in pink.
Cool.
So we got to go and do things.
I love that. I so love that.
But awesome. This is almost a hard question to ask. Is there anything you think that was missed that you'd love to see next year?
I mean, gosh, no. I mean, it's like you think of everything. Like that's why I asked her. That was one of the first things I put. How are you going to top next year?
Right.
Like, I mean, okay, a dance floor. We're gonna get our dance floor, so we already know we're gonna get that.
So, well, there goes my heels. I'm gonna have to come in flats so I can dance. Yeah.
I would take flats anyway, but it's like that. We know we're getting a dance floor, so it's like, but what else? It's like, and I did tell her like, okay, if there's a such thing as BDSM 102, but because I'm still sprinkles, so you're still giving me sprinkles. I couldn't tell you what it would be next, but I'm trying to think, what did I put on my interest form? Because I think I might have put one other thing. That's why I said so much was covered. I feel like she gave us so much. I feel like she just gave us so much. I couldn't, like you said, it's so hard because this was such a jammed, packed weekend. It's been a while. And I'm talking about where you're going to a conference where you're being taught. Like I said, educated. Yeah. I have not. And wanted to be every single day, all afternoon, plugged in, interactive,
yep.
And that you're involved, meet wonderful people, all walks of life, no judgment. That's Nikki, I don't know how you're going to do this, honey. If you're listening, I don't know how you're going to do this. And you know, this is Mo. I've told you this countless times now. I don't know how you're going to do it, honey. But
well, I know
it's going to be bomb.
My notes have been going crazy. I'm like, and I'm trying not to overwhelm her because I'm sure she's trying to recover, but it's like, can we talk about it? I want to talk about what I'm teaching because I really want to do this. I want to do that. And I'm like, okay, you just have to pull it back a little bit. Give poor Nikki a chance to recover.
I think the educators and the presenters will be better to be able to give her more because, like always, we feel like we want more from you. Of course, we'll always want more from you. If you could give us more, because you know how you say you could give us the surface. Because this is the time I'm only allotted. This is all you could give us during your time. So if you have more to show us, you know I'm going to want more because I came to your table anyway. So I'm going to want more. So I'm going to want more anyway. So you saw as soon as you said, I'm like, yep, I want to come up for an interview. Yep, I want to come up. So anything else you could give. Yeah. So that's why it's so hard to say because I feel like she nailed it. She nailed this. I mean, she did an amazing job for her first event. I couldn't even believe this was her first event when I was told this was her first event. Chef's kiss. And so to do this a second time, perfect. And I'm just excited that you guys are coming back to help her. So I know she's going to do it all over again. I know she's going to do it all over again, even better.
All right. I want to give you a chance to promote your books. Tell people where they can find your stuff.
Yes. So I am Mo Flames. I am the spicy authoress. I am always pushing the boundaries of spicy romance with spicy precision. You can find me on all platforms as MoFlames_author. That is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, which is now X, Threads.
I'll never call it X. So it's so good.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, if his mama named him Twitter, we're going to call him Twitter. So that's what we're going to call him Twitter. But yes, I'm everywhere. I have an amazing series. I shouldn't even call it amazing. It is a scandalous, it is romantic suspense series, the Enough series. Yes, please pick that up. Right after that, we have the Affinity series, which that introduces us to the BDSM. Yay! Yes. And we have one that's coming out. Well, by the time everyone listens to this, and by the fall, maybe there'll be another one. Make You Mine. There's also Love in A Minor. So yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy writing schedule to talk with us. And I know I will see you next year.
Yes, you will. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'll talk to you soon.
I am very excited to welcome Tymber Dalton here with us today to talk about her experience at Smut Lovers. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. So I always start off and ask everybody, what made you decide to come to the Smut Lovers Conference?
Well, the big thing is that Cecil and Darcy from the Woodshed in Orlando were involved, and I've known them for several years. And when they said that they were on board, I was like, okay, cool. I was very sad that we were losing Shameless BookCon because I really enjoyed going to that one. And then I also talked to Nikki, and I liked everything that I heard that was going to happen. I was very excited about it, and it exceeded all expectations. As an attendee, I have heard nothing but good things. My experience was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to being part of it going forward.
Right? Yeah, everybody had such an amazing time. We're all like, we signed up for 2024, signed up for 2025. It's like we are there.
Yep. Yep, I have the deposit on my table for 2024, and I filled out the interest form for 2025.
Awesome. Now, I happen to know that you actually have a kinky background.
Yes.
So how did all the education work for you? Did you feel that it was on target for what you know?
Yeah, the speakers were great. There was a variety of people from different walks of life, and I always tell people there are other than safety issues, big honking asterisk right there. Other than safety issues, there is no one true way of doing BDSM, and I saw that there was a diversity of experiences and people and presenters, and it was great to see that it wasn't just like some elderly white dude training around going, well, you must do things my way because I am done say so. It was really great. I had a great time listening to the different presenters. I didn't catch all the classes, unfortunately. But the ones that I did get to sit in on, I thought the presenters did a great job.
And did you learn anything new?
It's not so much that I learned things new, but I got to see different points of view, which I think is important because I'm not saying that I'm an expert. There is no certified expert BDSM person. I would never say that. And I always like to learn. The classes that I sat in on were things that I had a grasp of the subject matter, but it was great to see different points of view and things that maybe I didn't think about exactly the same way, like the mindfuck class. The presenters there did a great job, and they were pointing out different things that I didn't really think about coming at it from that particular direction. But so it's not so much that I learned things, me personally, but again, remember, I'm not a baby kinkster. I've been in the lifestyle for a while, but I like how they presented it. It was very accessible. It was as far as I could see safe information. I didn't see anything harmful or dangerous or hear about anything harmful or dangerous presented, like, well, you have to do it this way. And that's like not from a safety aspect, not a way you should do it. And I do love to learn. I love to see other points of view. I love to watch presenters. I love to see how other educators handle their subject matter. So I had a great time with all of that all the way around. I thought it was perfect for people who don't have a foundation in what real life kink is, because a lot of readers, unfortunately, their experience is, oh, I read this in a book, which is why one of my series, I read it very realistically so that people could go read it and go, oh, here, and hand it to their partner. I wanted that grounding. So what I saw there, it was that realistic grounding. It wasn't the, not to disparage 50 Shades of Grey. I am not disparaging it in any way, shape, or form. It is entertainment and should be taken only as entertainment, not as an instructional or blueprint for what a safe, sane, and consensual relationship should be. So I loved that everybody that was there got exposed to the realistic points of BDSM and kink and fetish, and got to see it. Oh my God, at the gala on Saturday, I cannot rave enough about how wonderful it was to see a variety of different body types of performers. It wasn't just
right.
Again, no offense
I was not
intended.
expecting that, and it was fantastic.
It wasn't just a bunch of skinny little white girls up there gyrating. It was a bunch of real people, real body types, and they were all amazing. And I was just like, yeah, to see that it was wonderful.
So, are you going to be participating in any of the education for next year? Are we going to get you maybe presenting or on some panels?
I hope so. I did send in ideas of different panels that I can teach, because I can present on a variety of topics in different areas from both a writing standpoint and from a participant standpoint. of kink topics. This past year, I lost my partner Russ in October of 2021, and I haven't. Thank you. 2 weeks before Shameless BookCon, he was supposed to go with me. So that was rough. That was a rough one. And I haven't presented or taught since then. And Nikki had first mentioned something to me about maybe me being a presenter, and I didn't really pursue it because I wanted to, but on the other hand, I didn't want to like be standing in the middle of a class and then like break down crying because something hit me. But next year, I definitely, if she needs a presenter, then I definitely would like to be on the lineup for doing that, because I'm in a much better place now than I was when they were first putting this together last year. So I absolutely would like to.
Yeah. Now, I happen to know that you have experience actually running a dungeon. I would love to see you talk about that, because a lot of the books that I read, even, either the people are very, very involved in running it, or they're even the owners of the dungeon. And so to offer that, because I worked on the reality versus fantasy in dungeons panel. And we did have a couple of people asking specifically about financial stuff, which I passed on to Cecil to answer, because that he can answer better than I can. But, just the day-to-day running and how all that goes, I think would be really helpful.
Oh my God, it's a lot of work. And again, that's one of the things I addressed in my one series, my Suncoast Society series. It's very much based on the Tampa Bay Phoenix Club. I was on the on the management team for a little over 7 years, and we're volunteer. We're not. I mean, the members, obviously you have to pay to be a member there, but the people that work there and run it do not get paid. We were lucky to make expenses every month, and that's kind of typical for a lot of smaller venues. If you can make all of your expenses and have a little bit left over at the end of the month, you've done great. It's not the big rich fancy stuff, and it's a lot of work, because it's not most of the time. Russ and I, my partner, when he passed, I was not the owner again, but I was on the core management team, and he helped me do a lot during COVID so that we could safely reopen once everybody had started being able to get vaccinated and stuff. And it's a lot of work. And a lot of times we never even played at the dungeon. We waited to play until we got home because we were just so darn tired. At the end, it's work. Yeah. It's a lot of work to make sure everybody gets to have fun and safely enjoy the facilities.
Yeah. Making sure the equipment is in top shape. I've been there. Yeah, I demo top. So I'm always there early.
Right.
And I'm watching the staff running around, getting all the supplies set up and making sure everything is where it needs to be. And then I'm usually there till I've been there when they've turned the lights on and said, okay, everybody go home.
The ugly lights. Yep.
And watch them, go around with the garbage bags and cleaning up. And it is a huge amount of work. And I understand we read to escape. And so we like a little fictional world, but there's still room for the reality in there.
Oh yeah. There's like having to be over there in the middle of the day for the AC guy to come fix the air, because you've got 50 people that are supposed to be there for a presentation that night, and it's 95 degrees because it's a warehouse building, and the air's not working. So those kind of fun little surprises of running a dungeon. Yes.
All right. So have you been inspired by the event now in writing?
I've always got a bunch of projects going on at any one given time. It turns out I've got ADHD and autism. So that was things I didn't know about myself years ago. So I've always had multiple projects going. But one thing it did help me with is it gave me a lot of fresh ideas for marketing and promo materials and cover ideas, and talking to the readers, different things that they pointed out about, what they were enjoying about the event and everything. So it helped me. Sometimes I hyper focus too much on one thing or the other. I either hyper focus on writing and everything else kind of falls to the side, or I hyper focus on the administrivia. And like right now, I'm in the process of redoing my website. So like, I haven't done a new logo in probably 7 or 8 years. I haven't redone my website in like 11. So exactly. It's things like that. So I've actually been like, okay, this is the week I am going to redo my website. So I'm in the middle of going through images, and I put a bunch of stuff up on my readers group yesterday for them, different logo ideas and stuff for them to look at and give me their opinions on. So I've been crowdsourcing that. which is something I haven't done in the past. Usually I've just been the one woman shop and doing it. So now I'm like, okay, let them have input and see what they think, so that I can, like, not that I'm delegating it, but that I'm not being as much of a control freak and getting other people's opinion instead of just saying, nope, I want to do it this way because that's the way it looks, that I want it to look. But
Well, you have a vision.
I'm open to ideas. Yeah. Yes.
Now, I know you were a name that came up a lot for us readers of authors you were very excited to meet, because you definitely, when people ask, every time I'm in the Facebook groups that they ask recommendations, they're always like, I need the Ugly Cry. Give me the Ugly Cry book. The Reluctant Dom that you wrote, always, there's at least 5 of us minimum that are like, this is the one you have to read. Were there any authors that you were like, I really want to meet, I'm excited to meet?
I've been very fortunate that I've been able to meet a lot of writers that I'd always been like Sadie Haler and Zoe York. I've met them both a couple of times. In fact, I got to spend a day going around the Alamo with Sadie in 2019 at a readers event in San Antonio. I've met Lexi Blake. She's amazing. I love her to death.
I've met her. She's the funniest person. I got to hang out with her while she read out loud to us. Yeah. Toaster porn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pepper and Becca, Elle Boone. So I've been very fortunate that a lot of my favorite writers, I've actually gotten to meet them and like, oh my God, and fangirl over them. So, and there's so many new writers out there now that, I mean, I've got a to be read list that if they were physical books and not ebooks, it would crush me. So I've got a bunch of new writers, and that's something else that I do pick up from these is I find new writers I've never heard of before to go check out their work and give them a shot and see how their writing is in their books and what they do, and I always find new favorites at every event that I go to.
Yeah, it's my to be read list is a little, not that it wasn't already out of control.
Yeah,
but I know Amity Malcolm is like got this thing where she said she wants to read one book from every author. I'm like, oh, I would love to do that. I don't know that that's going to happen because there was so many amazing good ones. And once you start reading one, it's like, oh, but I want to read more by this author. I can't skip and go read somebody else. The problems of us readers, we are very, very
voracious.
Yes.
we love what we love, and we're fortunate enough that there's enough great writers out there that we can quench our reader thirst.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it was just, for me, it was so lovely to meet everybody. You get in your head as a reader, like, these authors are our heroes because you guys, you entertain us, you make us laugh, you make us cry. We have a lot of love for authors. And so to be able to like meet everybody in person and find out that not only are you talented, but you're just nice and fun to be with. It's a great feeling.
It's always, and thank you very much for that. It's always because I also have anxiety. So when I go to one of these events, I usually have one of my best friends with me. And lately it's been my best friend, Tracy. And so she really is my emotional support human when I go to one of these things. And I'm always like, kind of like, and she's like, go do the thing. You can do this. You've got this. You can do it. She's always like my hype squad, like reminding me that they want to meet you as much as you're terrified to meet them. They're happy to meet you. So you're okay. You're fine. I'm like, but they're going to see that I'm an awkward, neurospicy person. And like, that I'm going to be at this. They're like, no, you're fine. Go. But
I will tell you, it just makes you more relatable. And I really, because this is not my only book conference. I've gone to many and tried to meet as many of the authors as I can. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the gratitude the authors have for the readers, that's all we want to see. We don't care we don't care if you're neurotypical or not. We just care that you and we always walk this fine line between, we understand you can only write so fast, but could you please write faster?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I'm blessed that this is my evil day job. And I can touch type. I'm a speed touch typist with a caffeine addiction. So I'm lucky with that. I have, the past 2 years have been rough, obviously, because it's not like I I need my brain or anything to, write about happy endings and things when my partner died. So that was rough, but I'm finally getting back into the groove of writing. And part of me felt guilty. And fortunately, I have a wonderful therapist now. And I felt guilty. I feel like I'm letting people down. My therapist is like, you can't write from an empty well. You can't put out there what you don't have in you. So you do need to take care of yourself first, and don't feel guilty. Don't force things. You'll get back out there. I'm like, yeah, but I also need to write to kind of make a living. And I am very grateful for, don't get me wrong, I am extremely grateful for my readers. I am blessed. I love them to death. They are amazing. And I mean, obviously I couldn't do what I do without them, because I'm not independently wealthy or anything. But I always, when I'm putting books out there, there's a pressure on me. And this is very common. I'm talking with other writers, that I want to make sure I don't disappoint them. I am a very fast writer once I'm in that groove. And for a while there, a couple of years back, when I was still writing regularly for Siren Book Strand, I was putting out 2 titles a month with them, and then working on my own stuff on the side that I was self-publishing. So I was doing that sometimes those were 20-hour days, but again, I'm a speed touch with a caffeine addiction. So there were some days that I wrote, anywhere from 10 to 20,000 words several times a week. But it's like, I always want to put out the best book I can. And some writers are like me and can write fast, and some writers aren't. Some writers, it takes them years to finish a book, and there's nothing wrong with either process. But I always want to make sure that, because I'm my first reader, so I put a book that I would be happy or at least enjoy reading out there. And I get it that not every book is for every reader. And I've got plenty of readers who, like, they might love my BDSM, but not like shifters, or vice versa. And that's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I ask of my readers is they please legally obtain my books. That's it.
That
Full
seems
stop.
fair.
If they have legally obtained my books, that's it.
I need some shifters doing BDSM. See, that's what I need, because I love both of those genres.
I got a little bit of that in my Triple Trouble series. I've got there's a couple of characters in there that do that. They're Blackie and Callie have a BDSM relationship in that series. So I need to write more about them. I need to get caught up. I am so backlogged right now. It's awful.
Well, let me give you a chance to plug your stuff. Where can people find your books?
My website is tymberdalton.com. That's Tymber with a Y. I also write as Leslie Richardson, Leslie with Lesli, no E. That's my real name. And I still have people that come up to me going, oh, I didn't know you were Tymber. I didn't know you were Leslie, even though it's like on everything. So you get to my website, and I've got a full listing of all my books and readers list, reading order list, character information. Everything is on there. And it's in flux right now. So it might look different from when you go to it, or if you've been there before and haven't in a while, it may look different because I'm ripping it out and redoing it. So.
Yeah, and I'm just telling you, listeners, that if you need a gut-wrenching story that's going to rip your heart out, put it back together. Read The Reluctant Dom. Just have a box of tissues next to you, because you're going to need them.
Thanks. Yeah. People always say acquainted with the night gets them too. So that one's sci-fi.
That one I read probably Reluctant Dom like 8 years ago, and I still remember it clearly. It definitely touched me. So, well,
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. And I look forward to seeing what you might be teaching next year.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. We are going to finish our adventures at Smut Lovers Conference with the amazing, the fantastic, the fabulous brain and beauty behind all of this, Nikki Rome. Hi, Nikki.
I'm blushing. Hi, Lara.
Now, Nikki has not been listening to all the interviews that I've been doing through all this, so she has no idea how much love there is for you and this conference.
You say that. And I'm a little nervous to hear all of what everybody's been saying. I will say that the overwhelming positive response just from people on social media and people reaching out afterwards has been absolutely phenomenal. But I have not had the opportunity to talk to all of my authors like you have been. So I'm very interested to hear what they all had to say about the experience.
Yes. Well, what inspired you to create this specifically to educate about kink to smut writers?
I mean, I think it all goes back to reading books and knowing it wasn't right. Like I tell people all the time, I was just kinky enough to know that what I was reading in the books wasn't quite right. And it just didn't feel right. And so sometimes those scenes would just pull me right out of the book completely. And I was like, just recently have started to DNF books. I mean, but I used to plow through them anyway, just out of principle. But I would always be a little annoyed that either the character didn't feel like it was portrayed correctly, or definitely the kink didn't. And then the whole 50 Shades thing came, and I think we've talked about this before when I was on your podcast last time. It kind of opened up the door and, mainstreamed the conversation for romance readers. But there was, people that I knew that were in the kink community that had so many problems with the book. And I was like, you know what, we're here writing this stuff. Like there has to be a certain level of responsibility to represent the community correctly or as accurately as we can, given the guidelines of a book, right? We're still writing something fake. So even when I talk to authors about it, I'm like, I'm going to follow the rules all the time, but we should know what they are, right? Like it makes sense for us to know what they are or how things really work if we're going to try and do an accurate portrayal of them. So I had a hard time finding authors, probably just because I was too nervous to reach out to people that were in the kink community. And then I did find one author who referred me to another, and they started reading some of my scenes and helping me with things. And I was like, why is it so hard to get your hands on this information? And so there comes Smut Lovers. And now we just can't seem to stop.
No, we can't. I swear we all came home on that Sunday and immediately reached out going, so when's next year's? What are we doing?
I know.
We need to sign up.
The excitement of it all was absolutely overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. The entire week, I did not sleep at all. I mean, you try taking your entire business and flipping it to 2024 in like 24 hours. I was like, okay, ticket sales have to go up. The website needs to change. We get flex to the hotel. Like, we are not going to let this excitement die out. And that's the one thing that I just keep asking everybody who comes to me. And they're like, this was such an amazing weekend. And I had such a fabulous time. And, what can we do to support? What can we do to help? And I'm like, just keep us a household name. Let's not forget about Smut Lovers between now and 2024, because we're more than just the conference. Like, we have built this huge community on Facebook. There's like 4,500 people in the last year that have joined this community that are readers and authors that have common interests. We're officially launching Smut Source in January, which will have blog articles from people like you with, educational stuff that you can get your hands on all year long and videos from our conferences. And I just want to be that place where people know they can come and get the right information without Googling it or, that life. It can be scary for people sometimes too.
I mean, there's a fine line. Having been an actual romance reader long before I was Kinkster, I do understand that you need some sort of fantasy involved in this, right? And I love the idea of these dungeons with these fancy rooms are great and they're wonderful. And I know they're not real, but I can live with that. It's when they start doing
write them that way because they are so wonderful. It's like
because we do all wish that existed. But when they start writing things about knife play that are not really knife play, or they talk about flogging, but they're not actually using a flogger. They're doing something else. Like, that's when I'm like, well, wait a minute. That we can get correct.
Yes, that is the stuff that always frustrated me as well. And I will say the more that I learned and the more classes I took and the more time I spent in the community, there was so much that I learned that was just so fucking hot and exciting. Like, I mean, just the warm-ups and the coming down from impact scenes that you never read about in books. And to me, those are some of the most intimate moments that you can write between characters, right? Like building and negotiating a scene. Some of the most intimate conversations your characters can have as an author. And does it have to happen in every book? No. But once in a while, it's really nice to read that stuff and see that stuff incorporated. I hope that if nothing else comes of everything we're doing with Smut Lovers is that you can do these things if you're not doing these things. If that makes sense. Like there's people out there to support you and help you. You don't have to necessarily go home and start smacking each other around.
No.
In fact, we would prefer you not to.
Please don't. There are so many, and I know because one of the interesting things is for many, many years, I couldn't really talk about the fact that I've read romance, right? Like that you did that quietly behind closed doors. Then thank God for Kindle. So nobody would know. I read my 50 Shades on Kindle. Nobody had to know. But now, even now, we can talk about it and we're proud and admit I read romance. Damn it. And I'm totally okay with it. So the fact that then people can go from that to now going, and I read smut. And I've learned about these. Oh, I'm very fascinated by this whole daddy dom thing. Or, barehanded spanking sounds really fascinated. I'm interested in trying that. So these fictional books are almost like a learning resource for people.
They can be. And they definitely can. They spark the interest, which I think is amazing. So I'll share a short story. I was at a conference this last weekend teaching a very high level way of how we can incorporate some of this stuff in our books. And we were talking about Smut Lovers, the conference, and a very, very little old lady walked up to me at the book signing. I mean, I'm talking like white hair, grandma sweater with like little fall emblems, like literally the picturesque grandma. And I had seen her in the back of the room and she came up to me and she introduced herself as a committee member from the conference I was at. And she was like, I just want you to know that I didn't really know what to expect when I came into your session, but then I just couldn't leave because it was so fascinating. She was like, I loved how frankly you talked about everything. Like, this is just part of life. And that, you know, it's not something that we need to be worried about or ashamed about. And ironically enough, the night before I went to dinner with one of our signing authors from Smut Lovers and her emotional support human. And we were talking about reading books on the subway in New York City. And O was like, I used to cover my books. Like you would cover your book covers so that people wouldn't know what they were. And I'm like, I lived that life too, scared to tell people what I loved. And that's probably why I named my business Smut Lovers, because like you can't hide from it.
Well, it's great. So our podcast has a Patreon, right? And we have a Discord server for our patrons. And I finally started like talking in there about the kind of books that I like to read. And next thing I know, they're coming out of the woodwork. Oh God, you read that one? Well, did you read this one? Did you? And we're all sharing. I put down, okay, guys, I really love Who Cow. And we did that Who Cow episode. Now I've got one of them reaching out to me privately going, okay, I need all the Who Cow recommendations, please. Which one should I be reading? And I'm like going, oh my God, I love this. Thank you. And then we'll sit there, we'll share authors and I'll put in there going, okay, you really got to read this book. You got to read that book.
And to me, that's what this is all about. Like, if we can empower humans to just explore their sexuality or just their kinky ass side, which can 100% just be kink for love and kink in a book, because we don't necessarily want to do it in the real world, or maybe we're not as attached to it in the real world as we are in our brain, then why the fuck not? Like, I just love that. I love it when you find new people that you did not know or expect love romance as much as you do. And now all of a sudden you're like, friendships at a whole other level.
I mean, I've walked away with friends from this conference. Like, I am making plans now with Amity Malcolm and her wife that we are going to Disney after the conference is over.
Yeah. No, they're phenomenal.
Like, I have friends. They're coming up. They're going to come up in this way, and I'm going to take them to the dungeon and all these things we did. That was for me. I've been to book conferences before. So this was not my first book conference, but I will tell you honestly, this one was just something special. Because like when I've been to other romance book conferences, right? Some of us are into smut, but there's also the non-smut stuff. I mean, not even necessarily the fade to black, which for those who don't know, fade to black is just what it sounds like. They go into the bedroom, they close the door behind them, and you don't actually get to ever watch them have sex. But even the ones where you do watch them have sex, it's, your missionary position, which there's nothing wrong with, and they're standard, and it's fine. But when you tell them, oh, well, I read this, I read the BDSM romance, all that, they're kind of like, oh, whatever. Yes. This one, we all read the same. The only difference is who's doing the fucking. Are they monsters, vampires, werewolves, humans, alphas, and omegaverse? Like, that's the only difference.
And that was important to me when we were building the lineup of authors, is I was like, because I had a lot of people reach out to me and they were like, well, is this just erotica because it's smut? Does it have to be kinky? Does it have to be this? And I was like, I am looking for sex on the page. If you have sex on the page, then you are welcome at our con, because so many authors write in these other subgenres. And I think sometimes they don't even realize that, werewolves running through a freaking forest and tackling each other to fuck their brains out is primal play, and
It's
power
hot.
exchanges happen in the fantasy world of books all the time. And so they're writing it because they've seen it done so many times. The input was there, but they didn't realize what they were writing really does fall into the kinky fun stuff. I mean, breeding and knotting and all these things that, there's just so much overlap. And so one thing that I will say that I cannot be more proud of is, like, we had no issues all weekend. And like, when I say no issues, like, we had nothing. And I had multiple people walk up and were like, this conference was run so wonderfully. We didn't hear one word of one problem or anything. And that's because of the community we built for a year leading up to it. I mean, people had friends online that they had already. I mean, Lara, you knew no one in our community when we were like, hey, hello, would you like to do this? And you were like,
yes, I'm at, please.
Absolutely.
And now I got besties.
Over a year, people got to know your name and your business and things about you, and were excited to meet you. And that happened for so many of our vendors and authors, that the excitement and the acceptance of everyone was just like, that's the shit that makes me teary in the eyes, because I'm like, oh my God, you guys are all so perfect. Of course, little tiny things happen, and
there's no way saying that we won't. The infamous missing sign at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. I thought Nikki was going to have a heart attack.
Those fuckers took that thing and hit it too.
I know they do.
Gotta love censorship.
Happens when we have a Smut Lovers Conference right next to my favorite, though, was the fact that people were going, oh, that's so cute. In the reader room area, Nikki put a room for littles.
Oh my God.
And we're like, no, that's an actual church daycare. Don't go in there. That's not a room for littles.
Like, I'm that. I'm like, stay away from the daycare. It's not for you. I will give you a little room for 2024, but don't go in there. I don't know. It's funny because we were just talking. There's a FET conference in it's either Jacksonville or St. Pete that's at a Hilton property coming up this year. And it was last year too. And we're at Hilton next year. And I just kind of feel like with a larger corporation, we'll have less issues than we had with a privately owned hotel. I mean, the hotel was great, but as you can imagine, there's a struggle, especially when you're booked with two church groups and a military group. Well,
we do at a Hilton here in DC, we do a hotel takeover.
Yeah,
I think it's Kink convention.
Easier.
So
yeah. So we're going to probably just stick with Hilton because they like us already. In fact, the guy called when he was doing the hotel link and he was like, okay, so the word smut is flagged in my system and can't get around it. And I've had this before. So is there something else I can call you? And he was like really just cool about it. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I get it. Censorship. Blah, blah. He's like, no, like for real. Like I have seen way crazier here than this. This then. And I love that because, we had struggles. We did have struggles leading up to the conference. We had a lot of them. I mean, we're in Florida, so we had those struggles. We dealt with private companies. We had those advertisers, and I get it. Not nearly probably as bad as most Kink conferences, but I'm happy to have been able to work through all that because once we finally got together, it was like a big, warm hug. Like
it was an extended family. It was like a big extended family reunion. And everybody was so excited to meet each other. Like we had been talking. I know I was fangirling. I was very shocked to find some people were fangirling over me.
Fred. Biggest thing ever. What was it? Pepper? I think it was Pepper.
Oh my God. When Pepper North told me she listens to my podcast, like that was it. I could die happy now. I
should have seen Rara. Like you would have died. She was like bright pink in the face at early registration going, it's my podcast. It was the cutest thing ever. But that, you don't know until you meet people and then you learn all the things and you're like, you have these secret fans that you've idolized, which is just so cool.
Yeah, this is why I know Amity's confessed she's got a countdown going on her phone. If I knew what app to use, I would get a countdown going on my phone.
keeps reminding me of the countdown. I'm like, come on, give me a break here.
I tried to book my airline flight already, but the airline's going, lady, it's too early. We don't book that far in advance. Like, why not? Let me book it.
I love it. I love the excitement. And you know what I love even more is it's not just a pocket full of people who are that excited. It is so many people who participated and others who had just heard about it. Or maybe they heard about it during the year last year and they were kind of unsure. And now they've talked to other people and they're like, how do I get there? And that is just the best compliment ever.
We absolutely had a blast. I would not be surprised if like a whole bunch of us make plans to all like take over Disney or something, because just watch out, Disney. Here come the smut lovers.
I know. That's okay. They're ready. They do Pride Days there. We're fine.
We're fine.
We're fine. There's so much fun stuff to do in Orlando too that, you know, there was a lot of concern with people traveling in, but once you're here and you realize what's really going on in Orlando specifically, there's so many things. I mean, like the Sunday brunches at Hamburger Mary's would be like the perfect ending. And so like we were talking about different things that we could do for Sunday going forward. And it may not be like an author breakfast that Saturday morning. It may just end up being a pool party. And then let's head to Hamburger Mary's for, you know, a drag queen brunch. Because why not? Like, it seems like
I
the
would
perfect
love
blend,
to
right?
do that.
I know. So we'll have some recommended like outings. There was a group that went to that male review Scream thing. Others went to the dungeon on Friday. I'm like, you go as long as you're here in time for session Saturday morning.
I know. And I've learned my lesson. I will not be volunteering for any 7 a.m. things, but I will volunteer some more, just not for 7 a.m.
That's okay. We'll excuse you from 7 a.m. I don't even like being down there that early.
I was down there before you. Remember, I was sitting my ass
I don't even know why, but you were there.
Because I hate being late. It's like a phobia of mine, being late.
I was impressed. Next year, if you do that, I'll just give you the keys to unlock all this shit.
No, I'm not. I've learned my lesson because I want to go out. I swear I wasn't going to go out Friday night before. And then I still did. And I said, and then I'm like, oh, I won't stay out that late. And I still did because it's what I do. I lie to myself about that all the time. So it's going to be, I can't even, I mean, I know it's going to be even better than last year just because it's going to be last year plus all the friendships that I made in 2023 that I now get to go hang out with again in 2024. So it's like even an extra layer to look forward to.
Like an even extra layer of awesomeness.
Yes.
And I'm already working out all the different ways that I can top our after party because that was a pretty good party. I will give you motherfuckers a fucking dance floor though.
We need a dance floor. And then I will wear flats so I can dance.
On the feedback thing, I was like, there better be people on that dance floor all night long because there's nothing more awkward than two people dancing all night. There's no one around.
We will get the people up on the dance floor. I promise.
Dance floor. I will give you a dance floor. But we have an entire troupe of drag queens that are preparing a very amazing opening number for us. Our theme is Moulin Rouge. I mean, just think bohemian fucking fabulousness.
One of my all-time favorite movies. So I'm very excited about this.
I know. I just watched it again not long ago. My husband's watching it and he's like, isn't this a tragedy? I was like, listen, it is. It's a very sad ending.
Yeah. If you play Come What May, I'm going to cry. And I'm just telling you that now.
Ever though. Like we had to do it. So we'll see. 2025 will be Angels and Demons. So figure out a way to start throwing fire around.
There you go. All right. So people can join the Smut Lovers group on Facebook.
Yes, that's really the best place to get all the information for all the things. Just search for Smut Lovers. Our big group will show up there. Because that is that's even more than just the conference. All the conference updates get pushed there, but our podcast info is there. The Smut Source info is that's out, rolling out. We'll all be there. Plus, we do a lot of hi, I'm looking for Daddy Dom authors, and I'm like, you've come to the right group. I've got a few
of those,
and so a lot of book recommendations happen in there too. It's a really great place to build community. We're also on TikTok doing updates there all the time too. Our website is updated with everything for next year. That's where you get your tickets this year. We're selling tickets direct instead of dealing with Eventbrite. So yeah, we're pretty easy to find. There's not a lot of people out there who've named their companies Lovers. So
And are you going to do Smut Lovers merchandise again? Because I know that sold well.
Yes, the 2024 line is up. I had an issue with one of my Pride logos, which is why I haven't fully announced it yet, because I've got a series of Pride, the logo on the black t-shirts and stuff still has to be uploaded, but we should have that done by the end of the week. And then we'll do our in-person specialty merch that sold like crazy at the conference. We will do that all again. Because people loved it. I mean, it was cute.
People just loved the weekend, period, and anything and everything having to do with it. So you should be proud of yourself. And I would tell you to just take a big drink, rest and relax, but we got to work in 2024.
Yeah, no, there's no downtime here. We're busy. We got things to do. I got another conference in like 2 weeks. I got to go talk all the smutty things, and we'll take a break through the holidays, and then we'll be back full force in January. Because then it's like only 10 months away, 9 months away again. Gosh, it feels like it's so close, but still so far, doesn't it?
I know. Well, and now that you always having it again around my birthday falls on
always
Saturday.
Be your birthday.
My birthday falls on Saturday this year of the big party.
I love it.
So I'm just going to pretend y'all are throwing me a big birthday party, and
we'll do that. We'll do that. I would have given you a full fucking ass cake if they didn't want like $1,000 for it. I'm like, y'all are just stupid. And then I'm like, I'll bring my own, and the cutting cake, whatever. Hotels, man, hotels.
Those Oreos, by the way, those were so good. Nikki gave me a wonderful gift of like these individual chocolate covered Oreos they were covered in like different things, and it was so good. They were so good.
I bought them for someone else before, and they were going on and on about them, and so then I bought them for myself just because I can buy myself gifts. But now they're like my go-to. Although I'm gonna have to find something. Y'all are gonna have to send me a message or something like really fucking rah-rah to give her next year, because I'm gonna have to get creative with these gifts. And I know she's already got a few chickens, so
I do. Oh, I've added more to my pink farm. I got a 3 Little Pigs paddle coming my way soon.
Oh, do you now?
I do.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you, Nikki. Thank you for coming up with this brilliant idea, for spearheading it and getting it going, and for letting us be a part of your Smut Lovers world.
Oh, absolutely. And I owe you guys so much. I could never thank you all enough. So thank you for doing all of this. And we'll see you next year.
Yes.
All right. And that's all the interviews that we have for you for Smut Lovers. I am so excited.
No, no, it's not.
What? No, we talked to everybody that wants to talk to. We talked to Nikki and Shannon and Ashley and Pepper and Tymber
and the hot guy cover
Chloe.
model.
Oh, Tony. Yeah.
I know you. How could you forget Tony? But I can't even believe you forgot. You forgot. You forgot you.
Oh shit. Shit.
Me. Do you remember when we first started to come on, you're the center of your own universe. How did you forget you? But remember when we first started discussing how we were going to do this? You were like, oh my God, I have to do all this by myself. And blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, okay, but look, I'll interview you at the end and then you could tell your own stories. And you're like, oh my God, that's a genius idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm old and tired and forgetful and repeat. And okay. Yeah. So let me be interviewed. I will tell you all about Smut Lovers.
Okay. And the only problem is I have no idea what the fuck questions you asked everybody. So,
well, I'm not going to answer the same questions. I mean, I am going to include it, but I'm going to let me start with back in the day. Blue, 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 blue. Okay, that's my going back in time.
Oh God, that was terrible.
I know.
How about I just say? How about I just throw this in there? Hey, Lara.
Okay. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us some fun stories about what happened at the Smut Lovers Conference?
Oh, okay, I will. Well, it really started when, if I remember correctly, and apparently I don't remember things correctly, but I'll do my best. Ashley had reached out to me to want to know if I would be interested in participating. And I went, Kink, romance novels together? Fuck yes, where do I sign up for this?
And I reached out, I got in touch with Nikki, and I'm like, I would love to do this. And then poor Nikki you will appreciate this, Star, and you will totally sympathize with Nikki, having been in her similar situation. I started sending email after email with, okay, I'll do this and I can do this and then I can do that. And I'm happy to do this. And what do you need me to do? And I've got this covered and I'll do that.
You annoyed your way into the conference?
I don't mean to annoy. I
am so proud of you.
You know, when I get excited about a project and I don't walk, I run.
No. I have never, ever experienced that in my entire life, this podcast being the biggest one.
Yeah, well, poor Nikki got to experience the joy that is Lara when she's on a mission to do something. And then the countdown started, and it could not get here fast enough. And then, as if I wasn't already excited enough, Nikki asked me to do a presentation on edgier kinks, like, I don't know, blood play. And I went, are you kidding? I am there for this. And
I'm sorry. What did you say? I was tuning you out.
Right. I'm sure you were. And some people did tune me out when I made my presentation. It was okay. But having the advantage of somebody who actually reads a lot. In fact, I think as of the date of this recording in November, I am at approximately 320 books that I've read so far this year.
What the fuck?
Were you kidding?
I don't keep track of how many I've read, but I am currently reading 2 right now.
Oh, I'm probably in the middle of about 5 because I get started, and if it doesn't grab my attention, I kind of move on and then I come back. My goal for this year is 400, so I'm off pace. I got to hurry up. But I didn't take into account the things like the beta reading and the ARC reading. So,
okay, but do those still count as books that you've read?
Eventually, no, those don't count in the 320 because Goodreads is where I keep track. And until they're available out on Goodreads and I can add them, it's a whole long complicated thing because it's me. So I made it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to Florida. Now, I started off a little rough because for some reason, I'm sure it was probably because I was trying to save money. I took a flight out at 6:20 in the morning.
The earliest I've ever done is 7, and that we about died.
The only really amazing good thing about going at that hour is your flight's pretty empty. So I had the whole row to myself. It was great. So I get there, I get my luggage, I get an Uber, I get to the hotel. Of course, I cannot possibly check in this early because I'm at the hotel at like 9 in the morning. So I check my luggage in with the concierge they were adorable. This old, obviously flaming gay guy. And he and I just started joking and teasing about, was my luggage safe with him? Was he going to steal it? It's just too cute. And then I sat and I got myself some Starbucks and a muffin. And I took out my Kindle and my phone. And I just hung out in the lobby. Now, I should also preface this with the fact that this was September 21st. This was my actual birthday. So I spent a lot of time on social media and text answering all the happy birthday messages I was getting. And then eventually Shannon came down and saved my ass and let me go hang out in her hotel room while I was waiting for mine to be ready. And mine got ready and I got to get everything in my room. And then it was time for the author meet and greet. And I was working the event. I got to do the money part. I got to help sell the merchandise, the Smut Lovers merchandise. And I got to start to meet all of these authors that, I don't know if crush is the right word, but like a reader crush on these authors. That
fangirling.
Totally fangirling. Oh my God. It was like embarrassing. I was trying not to. I was trying to be cool and I was not being cool, but I tried to be cool. And then I got to really talk to them and meet them. I got the coolest, adorable little temporary teddy bear tattoo from Kate Oliver's husband, Mr. Oliver. And it took him like 3 times to get the tattoo on. The first two didn't work. We had to take it off. So I hung out with him, and I got to hang out with Mr. Jameson and Mr. North, and we just were laughing and joking. Then I shared all my brat stories in the hopes that maybe somebody would write them into a book, because I really felt somebody needs to write in the book about, the green and yellow rubber chickens.
Did somebody say they were going to?
Well, Kate really did appreciate it, so maybe she will write it in there. We'll see. Her books don't tend to have like scenes, like traditional scenes. They're more. She writes Daddy Dom.
Oh well, that works.
It's more like you've misbehaved, and I'm going to spank you for your misbehaving, or put you in a timeout. So that was Thursday. Then Friday was the day of, we actually had educational aspects of it. And I didn't go on till the afternoon. So I got to go on, and I stood up there, and I have to laugh because other people had their turns. Obviously, not everybody is comfortable with public speaking. Not a problem for me. So
you think?
I was very comfortable. And I was very careful to tailor my presentation around romance. Like, a lot of the presentations were more Kink 101 presentations, and those are great, and I love them. But I wanted to tailor mine to, you're not going to take what I'm teaching you and actually go and do the scene. You're going to take what I'm teaching you and write a scene. So I wanted to give them ideas for writing. You would have been so proud, because the amount of times I would say, I'm about to trigger warning. I'm about to discuss this. If you don't want to hear it, you can leave and I won't be insulted. And according to our patron, Procrastinating Kim, who was there at the conference also because she's a writer, she said like only 3 people left.
Oh, that's
and
good.
Everybody else stayed for it. I mean, some of people I think stayed because, that whole like train wreck, you can't look away thing.
Oh yeah, that seems accurate. You are a bit of a train wreck.
I did get a lot of looks like, what the fuck? But I did have people come up to me afterward and say I got amazing feedback. Things like, okay, I would never do that, but now I'm really curious and fascinated by it. Or I never thought I'd be interested, but now I think I want to try it. To, oh my God, I need to write this and put this in a book. Because I talked about the butterfly, and I talked about the staple corsets, and the turning my butt into a birthday cake with candles and needles and stuff. So that went great. And then I got to talk later in little small groups about dungeons, fantasy versus reality. And that's always, if you're an actual kinkster, but you also read BDSM romance, you know that the reality versus the fantasy of dungeons can be night and day. And some of the stuff, I agree. Put it in there. It's much better in fantasy. This idea that you have all these individual themed rooms in your dungeon. We don't tend to have that. Or if you do, you have like 2 or 3 rooms, not like 10 of them.
Yeah, that's way too expensive.
Right? But the fantasy of it is awesome and cool, and that should definitely be included. But then things like, this was my personal favorite, and when I would tell kinksters that this was in books, they would always laugh because they would go, no. So you would leave your toys with the dungeon staff. Then they would bring it to whatever room you had reserved to do your scene. Then when the scene was over, the Dom would take the sub into the aftercare area and provide aftercare, while the dungeon staff would clean the toys, put them back in the bag, and bring them back to the Dom wherever the Dom was sitting.
No.
Right?
And I'll tell you why. Because no one's fucking touching my toys but me. I don't care if they're dungeon staff. I don't care if they're our friends. They ain't touching my fucking toys.
Yeah, that was my point. My rigger, who I worked with for years, I would say to her when we were done, do you need my help cleaning up your rope and putting it back? And she'd be like, no, I got this. I'm like, you can teach me. I understand you want the rope folded back in a particular way. You can teach me. And she's like, no, only I will do it. so that it's exactly the way I want it.
The only person I let pack up my toys is Daddy J, because he knows the exact way to do it, because we've done this so many times. But other than that, no one's fucking touching my toys.
Yeah. And right, I've seen it with couples where it is, let's say, part of the submissive's job is to clean the toys and put them away. But then they've been trained to do it the way the dominant wants it, and it's part of their routine. But to just have generic dungeon staff do it, and you very rarely have much staff in the first place, let alone staff who has the time and place to put your stuff away.
Yeah, no.
They don't even clean your spots after you. That's supposed to be part of your responsibility, to clean off your St. Andrew's cross or your table or spanking bench or whatever you're on. It's your job to clean it off. And if you're the next person to go, you clean before the scene, just in case the last people didn't clean off. It's never the staff will clean at the end of the night to close the place down. But that's it.
That's like extra clean.
So I definitely talked about that. By the time the conference ended, I know this term gets used a lot, but it is so true. I really felt like we had formed a family, a Smut Lovers family. Everybody there was there for the same reason, because they love romance, they love smut, and they want to do right by all of it. There were several who are absolute kinksters already, some who are not, but are curious, but they do write about it. And I have friends now. Like, there are people that I talk to. There's some of them, we've exchanged cell phone numbers, right? Like, we talk. I told you, Amity and I are making vacation plans. So it was amazing. And I'm coming back next year. I've already been invited to come back as a presenter and a vendor. I'm not sure exactly what classes I'll be teaching next year. Nikki and I are still hammering it out, because my knowledge base is varied enough and wide enough that I can fill in. Like, she's coming up with classes she knows she wants to be taught, and I can come in and fill those in. I am pushing hard for bratting, especially in the Daddy Dom little girl books. There's a lot of quote unquote bratting. And I not only want to talk about ethical bratting and make sure that that's what they're writing about, but I would also like to give them ideas for brat scenes, because I feel I have a lot.
Oh my God. I can tell the stories.
Yeah. So I know I'm doing that. Then Nikki went one step further and created the Smut Source, which I am also very much a part of, where I'm writing articles to be included so that people who join the Smut Source can access articles that we've written. There'll also be a list of kinky experts like myself. So if you need to talk to somebody to get either just interview them to get an idea of how something works, or you need them to read something to make sure it's written properly, you have that option. And I've picked up extra beta reading. I've also hoard myself out. And that really is the right word. Hoard myself out to a few other authors that if they either have questions or they need me to read just a chapter to make sure the scene is written properly.
Which, by the way, you're totally welcome, because I started pimping you first.
You did start pimping me first. I'm seriously, like, I was at the dungeon the other night and we were just standing around talking, and we got talking about books. And I started telling them about Smut Lovers, and they're like, oh my God. And then they started going, oh, one was like, I really love Omegaverse. I said, honey, if you like Omegaverse, I've got authors for you. And if you like the really smutty trigger stuff, have I got a podcast for you with trigger warning romance. So it's become very incestuous, and I'm very happy about it.
Good choice of words.
You know, and then of course it was time to leave, which was sad. I didn't want it to end. I was having such an amazing time. I've never been amongst a group of people with so little judgment.
even within the kink community, unfortunately, you run into judgment, right? Like caregiver littles are still looked down upon. The crazy shit that I do gets, judged for
By
being
me.
way out there. Yeah, but you do it in a teasing manner, so that I don't mind.
Well, see, the thing is, the only person that I like say ew to is you.
Yeah. But look, last night I yelled at you because she was about to pull the needles out, and I said, go away, you don't want to see this, you don't want to see this. Because I take my role as your big sister seriously. And in fact, I have now added that. It doesn't just say sister of Electra Khaleesi on my FET profile. They now give me the option to say big sister of. And so that's what I selected.
Yeah,
and
I noticed.
take that role seriously. But it was amazing and fantastic. And the funny thing is we all got back. Everybody else is, just like trying to wind down. I, the extrovert that I am so wound up. I came home and I had everything unpacked and laundry started and done by like 8:00 at night. And everybody's in the group posting going, I actually brought the luggage out of the car into the house. Aren't you so proud of me? Look how much I've accomplished. I'm like, are you kidding? I've already taken it in. I've unloaded it. Everything's put away. I've got the load of laundry going.
You're too much.
Yes, I am. I am a lot. And then we all started hounding poor Nikki. Our tickets out. When can we sign up? When can we sign up for 2024? We need to come back. And it has been a true honor to be a part of this. And I actually posted a message in our private Facebook group for the authors and presenters and vendors where I thanked everybody so much for being so open-minded and willing to listen and learn about kink so that they can write it properly. Because I did run into an instance of an author, not anybody having anything to do with Smut Lovers, but who, when I reached out to say, listen, I have some concerns about your book, their attitude was, it's fiction, right? And I responded with, well, yeah, but that people read these and it's like a gateway to the kink world. And this author couldn't give a flying fuck. And so I just needed to thank all of those involved with Smut Lovers for caring and understanding that what they write today may be what something tries tomorrow. I am so not the only one who used BDSM romance as their gateway into kink. And so I know there's a ton of us out there, and I want to make sure that they get the right information, that yes, it's going to have a fantasy element to it, but it's also going to have, when it comes to things like consent. And it's really cool because Cherise Sinclair, who is an author that everybody likes to hold up as her books are the truest and closest to actual kink, which I honestly have always kind of laughed at. I mean, her books are excellent and I love them, but they're fantasy. She just completely updated her author's note to talk more about consent and to bring the books even closer to reality. And then throughout the book, I was texting Violet all the time because Violet was going to read it, and I was just at her going, "Oh my God, what a difference in these books!"
She updated the books.
The newest book she put out, the consent practice used in this book is so much closer to what we teach and do in the real world of kink.
So she basically took it and ran with it.
Yeah, but she wasn't even somebody at the convention. I'm hoping she'll come sometime, but it makes me happy to see all these authors who are putting in the time and effort to learn and grow and change how they write, because people are reading it and people are emulating it. So if you are somebody who has hesitated to read these books because you thought they were too much fantasy, don't hesitate.
the changes are happening. Read the authors who we've interviewed in these 2 episodes and start to see how much better their books have become. If you are somebody who reads romances and you thought that's how it is in real life, now you are also better educated and will be seeing books that are closer to real life. I know I've talked about this a lot, probably bored a lot of people, Dara included.
Dara's asleep.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to that. There's 2 things. I could talk about blood and I could talk about all this romance and smut, and I lose her. And that's fine. But I'm talking to those of you who are still awake at this point. Because romance was my gateway into kink, I am super passionate about this and helping, because to just stand back and criticize it, but without saying, hey, I will help you, is just wrong. And so it's just another passion of mine, another avenue of kink education.
All right.
But yeah, I was gonna say I could go on and on, but I could tell by Dara's glazed eyes and the poor snurfling because she can't breathe. That
Snurfling? That's a new one.
Oh, snurfling. That's when you do the, but because you're trying to get oxygen more than it's that your nose is running.
Yeah, no, I've always just called that being a snuffleupagus.
Yeah, well, that works too. I've always called it snurfling.
I'm snuffy right now.
Yeah. But please, in both episodes, every author told you where you can find their books. Please look them up and support them, because if you want romance that is written ethically from a kink standpoint, then support those who are taking the time to go to conferences and learn and do better. Yeah, that's my PSA for the day.
Well, it sounds like you had a really good time.
Did. And I'm not as bad as Amity. I don't have a countdown on my phone until the 2024 conference.
You sure?
So there. Yeah, because I don't know how to put one on my phone.
Oh my God.
I know. I just have to download an app. But I've been trying to hold off.
Okay, Rara. Let's take you and your too muchness and happy Rara's birthday gift to herself episode.
Yeah, it's an extension of my birthday episodes.
All righty.
All right, everybody, tell Dara to feel better.
Dara's going to go to bed now. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you have a question you would like answered, or just have a story about the lifestyle you want to share, you can send us a voicemail and maybe it'll be featured in an episode. Just go to pinkkinkpodcast.com to contact us.
Follow us on social media. On Twitter, Instagram, and FetLife, we are Pink Kink Podcast. And on TikTok, we are Pink Kink Podcast 2.0. Join our Facebook group, Pink Kink Podcast, and hang out with other Pink Kinksters.
If you love what we do and are able to help support us, we are on Patreon. Just look for us on patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also help support our affiliates, which benefits small businesses and Pink Kink.
Even if you can't show your support financially, there are other ways you can help. You can spread the word about our kinky podcast and tell your friends about us. You can also rate and review Pink Kink on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. The 5-star reviews really help.
Don't forget to subscribe to Pink Kink so you don't miss a minute of the fun. New episodes come out every Friday.
Until next time, stay pretty, stay safe,
and stay twisted.